Welcome everyone. Today we have a guest with us who needs no introduction, but Dave Powers from Objective Personality System is here. Hi Dave, do you want to say anything or introduce yourself?
No, I'm Dave. That's the guy.
He's some guy we found. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. We actually picked him up off the street. No. Yeah.
Skib life.
Skib life. All right. What are we talking about?
Yeah. Okay, so my first question for Dave.
We're talking about success today. Success with Dave Powers.
Success with Dave Powers.
Yeah.
And my first question is, what
We're
is your
lay it on you.
What?
We're just gonna lay it on you. Sorry.
Yeah, there you go. Boom.
What is your top advice for building an online business?
Keep your day job. Definitely keep your day job is what I found. Yeah, and definitely so you can build it up, not in need and not be stressed and not all that kind of stuff. So you can think clearly. Because if you're unless you're young, if you're like 21 or younger, like go for it. You know, you don't have anything to lose. But that'd be my biggest piece of advice is definitely have a normal job and then slowly integrate it over. That's my general thing. Yeah.
In a recent video, can I ask you about this? Forgive me if it's like some little sensory and it's like whatever. But in a recent video, you said like that you only needed 2,000 subscribers on YouTube. Is there like some math behind that?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So I see like human nature, like we all like will just get stuck on there's never enough money or never enough subscribers or whatever. And Seth Godin, happens to be the same type as me. He's probably a different social type, probably 3, I would guess, or something like that. He had mentioned years ago, he's like, hey, if you have a tribe of 1,000 people online, you know, that's enough to kind of build a community and monetize. If you're looking to like stabilize your finances with a community or whatever. So it was just like, it was a good exercise to be like, to start establishing some numbers, like how much money do you need to make to be happy and successful, which I think needs to change every 5 to 10 years with inflation and your costs and the things that you're doing. But like to have a conscious number, so you don't get, especially like, you know, the 2s and the 1s, I guess, will get caught up and it's never enough. And, you know, they got to do more and all this kind of stuff. But everybody does it some way. So when we had the RC channel, it was just a runaway train of millions of views back in the day. It's got like over 100 million views on it. And so it was just in 2008 and 2009, it was just like, let's just see how much we could do. There was no goal, there was no end in sight, everything was new. So it was like, let's go crazy. And then after that, it was like, all right, so what if we were to build a business using social media, what kind of numbers do we need to have? And then we found that it's like to have, you know, if you're gonna have like say 1,000 members in your community, in your paid program, it's like how many people do you need to watch the YouTube video to transfer over? Then you're talking about conversion rates, so you're like paying attention to the higher you get the conversion rates and the less people you need, you know, overall. So it turns out like, you know, if you're kind of paying attention to everything, like you don't need the millions of views. You just need a few thousand of people that are actually really into your stuff, you know, if you're just trying to pay your bills at those early stages, which is now what we're trying to like, we're keep trying to like get out of the early stages and trying to like flip it over to scale and hiring. And just real quick on that, like it's like a level in a video game where like, okay, I'm not freaking out, but like I've tried to beat this level so many fucking times. I haven't been able to figure it out yet, but it's like I'm gonna get it figured out. It's one of the hardest levels for most businesses of like, you know, level 0 to 1 of like paying your bills on your passion. That's like the hardest thing to break through. And then the second hardest thing ever to break through is then to get it to scale where you're not the only one doing everything. So you have like a couple of these impossible levels, and then after that, then it's home free. Then it starts to go into a different world there. So that's kind of where we're at now, is just working on the hiring and the scaling and stuff like that. And it's finally starting to go good. Part of what's going good is like it's slow. So, but there's some overview talk. I'll pause for a back and forth break here.
Get that SI.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I was thinking that for me the biggest bottleneck are males. That sometimes I cannot go through you because of I can imagine a lot of males due to, I don't know, your latest Q&A or class or something happened and everyone is mailing you. So I may, I don't know, but I may be trapped in those moments, and I may never get back mail from you. So have you been thinking about making this bottleneck less narrow? Maybe you don't need to answer yourself, or Sean
Yeah.
don't need to do it, and you will hire someone that will be speak in as in your regards.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
On your
yeah,
behalf. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
With the half, yes.
Right. The first thing we're doing now is we're finally splitting up the emails, so it's not just one email bin, you know, Dave's superpowers or whatever. It's now I got Dave's own email, Shan's own email, and then the next one that's being started, the next one up, whenever that is, you know, hopefully soon here, is going to be like video typing at Objective Personality or whatever. So it'll just be for the video typing clients and stuff like that. So it's just like trying to get things set up so each email has its own purpose. So if it's a video typing issue, it goes here. If it's account, it goes here. And then actually having people, you know, staffed in each of those departments, because it's really easy to create new emails for new departments, but then there's still only one or two idiots trying to manage them all. And literally, like, you have these tabs of like all these different emails open. Like, okay, let me go into accounts on this email, and then this one on this one. So yes, we're going in that direction. And then the first one's going to be the video typing clients. Probably the last one we'll do is like general questions and stuff like that. Like, that's just kind of just lower on our priority list. But yeah, that's a fun challenge. I got a squirrel running around here. She might come by to visit.
Can we see?
Oh, I'd love to see her.
I can't we
Weird.
can't catch her. Only when she comes by. I'll see if I get it.
That's right.
Do
We're the
you-
chaos monkeys.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
not responsible for that.
If I chase her, she runs. Hey, you. She'll come by.
Nice.
Yeah,
Aw.
she'll come by.
So have you gotten her on a schedule at all, or are you just
Yeah.
strictly on her schedule?
No,
Oh.
she's really good. So we kind of got lucky. She's a fox squirrel, so it's kind of an orangish color, and there's a few different breeds around, you know, Oregon here, and so it's one of the more tamer, calmer kinds that are kind of competing with the gray squirrels, because these fox squirrels are a little bit more human friendly, so they tend to like settle into neighborhoods better. So yeah, her schedule, she was born probably like July or August. So it's like puppy years where they grow up super fast. So she's
Right.
only a few months old, but like she's, you know, like a full grown squirrel. So she has her own little room, and she gets up at about 7:30, and then she'll just hang out in there and wait for me, and I'll come in and see her when I'm done with my writing or whatever. And then she's got a very set routine that she likes to do. So she likes to, first thing in the morning, she loves her hugs and cuddles.
Oh.
She needs like 20 minutes of hug, like she'll, you know, grab your hand and just a very cuddly, lovable little animal. And then after that, then we'll have these little like pecan nuts or whatever, and give her a handful of those, and she'll hide them around the house. And she'll do that for an hour or so. Yeah, it's like her
Right.
job.
Yeah, just to kind of keep her occupied with her
Yeah.
programming, right?
Yeah, right.
Have you found that she's understanding any English yet?
Yeah,
anything that
she
you say?
knows. Yeah, she'll know. She knows no. Like, she'll climb up. There's like one area of my stuff, and they have like a little bit of mischief in them, you know. And so like later in the afternoon when she gets bored, she knows to go over there to get me riled up, and she'll kind of like watch me to see if she's getting me razzed up. And then when I say no, she'll like run over. But I'm also training her with a little harness, just so I can start taking her outside.
Oh my God, I
Yeah.
love that so much.
Yeah.
Oh, you know, Benjamin Franklin had a pet squirrel.
Did he really?
Did you know that squirrels were almost extinct at that time? And then people started having them as pets. And then once they started having public parks and squirrels started kind of escaping people's homes, that's when they reestablished
Really?
themselves. Yeah, so you'd never think that they were almost extinct, but
Because they're
yeah, they used to
everywhere.
be pets. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I did not know that. Yeah, because
That's
they're
cool.
everywhere.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
she's a great pet. I think we got really lucky. Definitely not. I'm just watching her climb up on the curtain right now. Like, definitely not for everyone. A lot of chaos, a lot of energy, you know. But I'm also seeing too, they live so long, like 15 to 20 years. When I see the other squirrels
Oh my
around
gosh.
yeah, I know. When I see her like brothers and sisters outside that are a couple years older, like they're really calm. So I'm kind of like betting on, if I can make it through the first 6 months, first year, just like a puppy, like it starts to calm down, which she is. She's already calming down a lot more than when she was little. But in the springtime, I want to be able to take her outside on the harness and then kind of give her a choice to kind of let her play around the yard a little bit, and then kind of let her figure out which is better for her, if she wants to stay in the house or go outside, or, you know, that kind of deal. But right now it's like, she just follows me around the house everywhere. Like, just constantly, whatever room I'm in, she follows me. She's always giving me cuddles, always coming to play, and definitely her best buddy.
No.
Yeah, some FI there.
Yeah. When you take her out on a leash, you got to take a video.
Yeah, I will. Yeah. I got some funny videos I could email you.
Yes, please.
Yeah, I'll send them to Melanie, then she can send them to you.
Yes, we love the FE.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay. My second question is, what are your plans to use AI with ops?
Yeah, right. AI is, I think the first thing with AI where we're going to need it is the typing bottleneck. So where I'm at right now is writing the profiles, which I wanted to write the profiles later down the road. I wanted to wait till there's a couple more people here, because I just thought it would be too much for just one person to kind of write them all out, which it kind of is, but oh well, it's what I'm doing now. And so I started on writing the profiles in the summer, like August, I think. And I've gotten a lot of the hard part over with, which is kind of, you know, getting the structure figured out and getting your momentum going and stuff. And so probably got a few more months of writing, because it's a lot of like this is what I was talking to Melanie about. It's like, I'll be figuring out the SE chapter and like get all the math to fit, and then I'll go to write the NE, and I'm like, I don't know what the hell NE is doing. Like you're writing this much about SE and then this much about NE, and so it shows that you don't really understand the math fully. So then you're like, oh no. So then you got to like go figure all that out. So not using AI for any of the writing, like maybe a couple years down the road, like once all because the wrestling with it, especially as an observer, like getting the S and the N, I hate it. But like that's the workouts where it really forces the brain to figure out how all the blocks work, you know. But then once all of it's kind of figured out, then I think having AI come over and make it like a nicer version of it or whatever. But seeing that once the profiles are done, then it'll be, rather than clients coming through and getting typed by me, Shannon, whoever else is here, there's usually like one or two kids that are kind of doing a coin or two. And then having Dave send out an audio to that client, you know, a 30-minute audio or whatever. It'll be more of like a profile. And then in the profile, we'll also have little audio snippets that go along. So when it goes to talk about, you're a decider, it'll like have the write-up of what a decider is before it goes down into what TI is. But then it'll kind of play like good cop and bad cop, because I feel like some of the writing, it's so like exact, and it's when I proofread it every morning, I get a sleep wave. It's like a lot to process, and it's my own damn stuff of like writing it. When you read it all over, you're like, oh, whoa, is that really what we're doing? You know what I mean? It kind of knocks the wind out of you. So it's like, I want to have the audios be in kind of a very positive NF, you know, kind of double decidery way of like, oh, we all go through this. It's totally normal. Because otherwise, like, you're reading this stuff, you're like, oh my God, I'm just a robot. I suck. No wonder everybody hates me. So you need like a little pick me up, you know? so then it'd just be, and then therefore, when the clients come through, I still might do, especially at first, I'll still probably do like a 5-minute personal audio, and then let the profile do the heavy lifting. You know what I mean? So, because when you send in a video, it's a very personal thing. You're sharing a lot, and then you're like, okay, we ran it through our robot thing, and here's a bunch of data. You're like, you know, so to still have the personal touch as long as I can, but not have to do 30 minutes, maybe just do 5 minutes. I could probably do quite a few of those a day.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, right. Oh, that's what I was thinking. And then at that point, then Dave processing emails. That's why we're doing the separate emails, the video typing emails, so we can get people into work the emails of the video typing clients, and then loading the profiles and sending them out. You know, we could probably go from doing a couple of clients a day to a few, maybe up to 10 a day. That's probably pushing it. But at that point, yeah, at that point, it's going to be typing. It's going to be harder to do at scale. Though Shannon and I are getting really good at typing, and I just haven't got to it, but getting a new lineup of questions, video typing questions that the clients do, a couple of months ago, clients were like, they were like sending in several videos and pictures and stuff like that. And then like the wording must be slightly off on the new page because now they stopped. They just went back to like one video. So there was like a sweet spot that I saw where I'm like, ooh, it got a lot easier to type people because they were accidentally like sending me all this extra stuff. So you can spend I'm like it's like it's a weird thing because it's like you gotta watch, you gotta type, you want to type the clients in the fastest time possible per month, which means if you spend a short amount of time on the front end, like only 30 minutes, you run the risk of getting the coins wrong, which now causes you a problem later in the month. And now you're playing cleanup down the line, you know? Right. So a lot of times the faster way is just sitting down and watching the whole damn video, you know? It's hard on the front end, but then you really get their type nailed down, you know, et cetera. So anyways, seeing that, at least at first, it won't be like AI will come in and save the day. It'll be number one, Dave and Shan are getting faster at typing. So that's the first layer. Number two, we're going to put some of the work on the clients and say, look, send us more stuff. So it makes it easier on us, fuck forbid, you know? And then the next layer is kids, you know, people under 30. There's several people in the community that are pretty good at typing. And as long as I can like hold the line, masculine SF here, of telling them, look, I don't care what coins you put down, but you can't get them wrong. And I don't care if you put down one coin a year, it better not be wrong. And that's what I'm like training people with typing. Like it's like Mr. Miyagi. It's like, that's about all I have to tell you. And then everything else is fake. Because if you can train your brain of like never get a coin wrong, then just over time you build up the good connections and stuff. So there's a few people in the community I'm kind of looking at where kind of setting it up like an Uber thing where there'd be
oh, fun.
Yeah, I see you, and he gets it. There you go.
Yeah, we just
I can make that app. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. So it'd be something like that where people could, in theory, they could jump in, type a few clients or type a couple of coins, get paid for the coins or whatever, then jump out, then have a few. It would still be people that still got to be kind of part of the team. I got to know them. I got to trust them. You know, they're having access to client videos and stuff like that. So it can't just be anybody, but it could be a handful of people. And then I think at that point, then when I get the overlap of somebody that knows how to type and then somebody that just knows how to use the normal AI tools out there that are arriving more and more, then having AI come in and be able to help with a couple of coins. Because what we're finding is like when Shanny and I are typing, it's what we're organically doing is like I don't usually type a client's all their coins. Like how many coins are there now? Like 10 or something like that. And I'll usually tap out at like 7 or 8. Right. And it's usually like double feminine or audio. I don't know, and I don't care. You know, the usual deal. and then the socials I don't usually know, you know, or have a hard time. And then when I talk with Shanny or I check Shanny's notes, she's usually has the ones I don't have, and then she's missing a couple that I do have. And so then we put it together and then send the type out. So we're finding like you don't have to get all of the coins right. You don't have to get all the coins, but the coins that you do get, you have to have right. You know, so AI would just be another little tool, and then get some ENTP to run the wizardry for us. You know, so that's what I'm seeing next. That's as far as I can see.
Yeah, I feel like the minute appreciates the ping ponging back with like finding the specialists for all that. Yeah. There's a lot of people that are really good at typing, and a lot of them are ESFPs. I got a couple of ESFPs I'm working with. Bless them.
Yeah, and they're and it's funny, they do their docs the same. They'll just gather in the most amount of sensory, and then they'll get this filter down of their guesses, and then like I think that they're like, I interpreted it like, oh, they're playing the scientific method. They're typing like an ENFP, right? So it's like some red-haired ENFP. Like, okay, it's obviously right. Like, but they're still like, I think he's OE. Like all these notes, I think they might be DI. All these notes, and so I'm just kind of being able to see like, oh yeah, they're able to see the patterns. But then there's just that insecurity on when it comes down to concluding. You know, they don't want to like hammer in on it. Yeah, like you guys would feel that same way.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
I'm not a trigger.
And my husband's an ESFP. So sometimes whenever I'm trying to type, if I'm in between two things, I'll let the video play for him. And what I love / can get very frustrated about, but it's a really good thing is he will not give me an answer if he doesn't have one, right?
Yeah.
He's like not going to give me that NF unless it comes up because he's ESFP sleep last and he's just like, no. But if he has it, he's usually right.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
I've noticed that about Shani, like with
Yeah.
Shani, because she's SC, that it's like so pound for pound, like if we were to spend the same amount of minutes, she's probably better than me. No, I usually will do more than her because I'll do I'll just watch more. I'll just consume less, watch more. But when she finally gets somebody figured out right, like she's got all the sensory to back it up, and she's very rarely or almost never wrong when she actually spends a lot of time going in there and deep diving it like that. Otherwise, she'll just say like, I don't know. She'll tell me who they look like. She says that a lot. She has a very strong visual memory.
I feel like I do that too. The looks like, well, at least I do, because I don't really attempt to type like you, like the rest of the femmes here, but I'll do the look like game basically.
Yeah. The more people you see, what's that?
Melanie can be a great starting point. Sometimes if I'm like, I don't know where to start, I'll be like, Melanie, what's your intuition? And she'll shoot something. It can be a really great, like,
the nail type.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
The group chat.
Yeah, that's really good. I found the more people you see, the more people you get right, the more the looks like game starts to kind of pay for itself. I picture like some Toyota mechanic who's been working there for 25 years. He's like, oh shit, this problem. Like he's just seen it before,
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how Shani's doing it. Shani is memorizing the visuals, and I'll memorize the modal. I'll memorize the sounds. Like I was saying, Julia, I recognize your voice before I recognize your face. I'll recognize the sounds, and then I'll recognize the movements, especially like if anybody has like a lisp or anything close to a lisp or just a weird way that they move their mouth, or they're like, it is like it's like high beam lights in my face. It's like an overwhelming sensory if their movements are what I'll remember. It's a weird deal.
Yes, the jarring sensory.
The audio.
Yeah.
Can't relate.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, well, the one more thing I wanted to skip off of, because a while ago you said you're trying to figure out NE, and something I've been processing since I went back and rewatched the Imogen Heap video pretty recently. And do you remember she had all those little like, okay, but don't worry, we're not going to go deep into Imogen. Just like that little visual she had with all the little like boxes, do you remember? And something that really struck me was, or circles. I don't remember if they're circles or boxes, but they were all the same size. And you and Shan were like, yeah, SE, we would have different sizes usually.
Yeah.
Right? It's just like a pattern. But it's like, I've been thinking about it, like, because I was like, but my NE doesn't work quite that way. But I think it does. It's just like, what I have to imagine is that all those boxes are actually like a bird's eye view of like towers of SI. And that is the NE, what the NE is doing. Then I think it's like, we do have all that SI stacked up, but we'll just connect this SI to this one. And then we're not responsible, since it's low for us, for all the rest of the SI in that stack, right?
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, Melanie and I were chatting about it a little bit. I've got my first official, this is why I did want to run by you ladies of like, does this sound right?
Super helpful for me too, to understand more. So
because it's like asking somebody the opposite functions. I'm like, okay, so what the hell are you doing or not doing?
Yeah.
So this was a random equation that Thomas Alott, you know him in the community. I wanted to send him an email on this and tell him thank you for this. He had said a couple of years ago, we were talking, he's just like, oh yeah, SI is extroverted and NE is introverted. And I'm like, it is. He's like, yeah, of course. I mean, you can't SI in your head. You have to S, sensory is outside. And I was like, oh, and I'm like, I always like didn't know what to do with that, because like it just hit me as like, oh, I totally know what you're saying. So I like had that rolling around in the back of my mind, and what I'm realizing what SI is doing is that it is very extroverted. Like just like Julie, the way you responded, where I'm talking away about AI or profiles, and I say Uber, and then I say that sensory, and that is an SI that you're like in this personal sensory conversation, and then boom, that SE shoots off. And it's not like it's not SE. It's not like you're looking at any random thing. You're looking at this specific personal thing. And now then what's different with NE versus NI is like, you'll have that flash of a, random Uber connection based upon this sensory that I said. And you're not going to be thinking about, you're not going to be building on it tomorrow. You're not going to be like, okay, so my whole life path now is going to be about taking this sensory and then building Uber things forever. It's like, you're just gonna be like, cool. And it's going to fall like into, it just looks like, looks like almond shells underneath the tree of a squirrel. just this, and this unconscious clutter, which is what TE does, Because I started doing the math of like, all right, what is TI and NI doing? That's the same. And then what is TE and NE doing? That's the same. And it's like, oh, I think was I telling you this, Melanie? It's like TE. It's like if you like if there's like a bunch of guys working on stuff, like this classic like male masculine show off energy, like they'll show it on sitcoms or whatever. Like whenever there's like a street guy or construction.
Yes, yep.
Yeah, raw. And I start doing the TE thing. They're like, as you got the 3x4, and then you start talking tools, and it's like, all of a sudden, I know so much about tools that I'm completely unconscious about. But it's like, if somebody else is getting started with tools, I can quickly, all of a sudden, I have all this tool knowledge that I'm not conscious of, all this TE that I'm not conscious of, that I can start playing the TE game right there. And like, there were some guys here, it was a few months ago. There's like, there's like all of a sudden all these trucks started pulling up out front, like these gas line trucks, and they had their lights on. And I'm like, oh, I know they're coming to my house. And sure enough, they like start piling up in the driveway, and like they start digging in the side yard. I'm like, all right, guys, what's going on? They're like, hey, you got a gas leak over here. I'm like, yeah, of course I do. I got a gas leak over here. So they'd sent a guy, the meter guy comes by, and checks your gas line, and he has some sensor to check for gas leaks. And there was like somebody did construction on this house a few years ago, and like they hammered down part of a walkway, and they nicked the gas line like really bad, so it was really leaking.
This is our problem now.
Yeah. And so they found it that morning because they're like, yeah, your house could literally blow up. So
oh my god.
Now. Yeah. So I'm like, this is great. So I'm out there all day, But the thing is, like, the TE is only going to turn on if it's in my FI, right? So if it's my house and what I care about, if it's the neighbor, I'm like, yeah, whatever. I don't give a shit what's going on over there, And so it's the same with like the SI and the NE shooting off that way, That makes sense so far?
But as a 2, wouldn't you care a little bit about the neighbor?
Oh, sure. Right. I guess that program would. Yeah.
That program
would. That extrovert program would. They'll run over. Hey, what are you guys doing?
What are you doing? All right.
Yeah.
But it's not personal. It's just,
right.
I'm away.
Yeah, I did used to mow the neighbor's lawn. I got so proud of myself. I had such a challenge with the lawn, and finally got an electric lawnmower that was more like a mulcher. It was like a Greenworks. I got the largest one they had. I was like running over berry bushes, and so I used to mow my lawn, and then I would mow Gary's lawn, and then I would. There's all these berry bushes in this empty lot, and I'd cut those too. It's all my extrovert energy.
Hard for DIs, like
yeah. But the one thing to think about is like, say you have jury duty and you're for like a week or something, to where solitary confinement, some made up situation where you're like, yes, I get a week alone in a quiet room. Let's say there's nobody else there because they all got COVID or whatever. So you just get a quiet week alone. If you have Saver TI, you're like, this is great. I get to work on whatever it is that I was thinking about, and I can continue to follow it all the way through and build it. And NI does the same thing. It's like, oh, great. I can figure out the business plan. I can figure out these coins, and I got a shit ton of work I haven't been able to get to. Leave me alone so I can just get to my NI for 7 days straight so I can get to it. Now, NE doesn't work that way. NE is not, if we lock you ladies in a room, you're not going to be NEing because there's no spark to set off the NE. So you're going to go to your TI because it's introverted.
Yeah.
And I can't go to my TE when I'm alone. I'll be like most of the day I'll spend alone, just me and the squirrel, and I'll see Shan sometimes not till like 5:30, and it's just like all this like, I'll be working on something for hours. I'll talk it out with her in like 3 minutes and like get more work done in that 3 minutes because I can TE talk it out than trying to struggle how to figure out the blocks to work by myself. I feel
like with NE though, like if we were locked in a room and we had objects around us, like we'll start NEing, but it does need something outside of us, definitely.
See the sensory, the little SI, it does not. It's like, not coming from nowhere.
I was like, we're still in a room.
It's just like 4 walls, box. Like we'll just start going, but it has to be looking at.
Yeah. So it really is. Yeah. I had, because I was also trying to work backwards from, and this is how I feel like if you watch the old like Columbo TV shows or watch Darren Brown, like you watch somebody like start to figure out these extremely complex, weird puzzles, and like you have this, like that makes sense why that guy's shoelace was torn. Like at the end of the movie, like, oh, that does make sense. And so I always had like these weird shoelaces on like, why are those damn ENTPs? Why do they freak out so much about the hidden sensory? And because I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, who cares? It just feels like you're at the beach and somebody grabs a pocket full of sand. They're like, can't have this pocket full of sand. Like, I don't care. It's like fucking sand everywhere. It's like, what do you need this? Like, they have that one sensory. I'm like, SE, there's sensory everywhere. Like, I don't need that sensory. And so I started to realize, I'm like, oh, but if like a fucking gremlin, like if that's where the NE is getting their magic power source from, is from these little sensory things, then if I've got the best sensory, then you're getting robbed from the best experience of the NE, you know? And that's how I would feel about tools. Like if Leatherman came out, they're like, oh, by the way, like we've been working with the NASA guys and the CIA and the aliens, and like, holy shit, we got this great set of pocket tools, but you can't have them. Like I would be freaking out. Like I need to have that TE, you know? So working off of that kind of math.
SI is so very, very weird. We found this like broken Hot Wheels set, and then Parker didn't tell me. And like me and my son have played with it a lot, and Parker got all the other parts and was fixing it. And I was like, no, it was such an SI versus SE mode.
Oh yeah.
Like, oh, it's precious. We've played with it this way and we have the things that we do. And Parker was like, but it's broken. And now it's not.
Yeah, I just saw a guy.
The ST that you could.
Yeah, I literally saw that same sensor. What was the guy's name? Mandy. I don't know if the class is aired yet or not, or was it just a short Q&A? Some ENTP guy, and he said the same thing. Where he's like, he had this train set from when he was a kid, and what was so special about him is the time they broke the little thing off, and like he left it just that way. He left it still broken. And you're like, what the hell? They fixed the damn thing. Like, why do you? Yeah, seeing the
Parker returned it. Parker returned the extra parts.
Yeah, because he's SE. He's like, no, your shit's broken. Like, let's get you looking good on the spectrum here. Did you a favor?
Yeah, exactly.
I do get that. I do, like, as a IJ, I'll get overlap with that. Like, I'll get some kind of SI sentimental about, you know, certain physical items or whatever to some degree. So I get it. I can feel what the SIs are doing, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes me feel better.
That's so sweet. Okay. Well, thank you for answering my questions. We'll probably come back to that later too, because I was going to ask more about what you wanted to know as well. But Sasha also has some questions. I remember your FI was excited
Yes.
about.
Yes. So this is kind of a weird connection to success. Of course, this has been really bothering me for a while because I just don't get this at all with you.
Uh-oh.
So it's an actual question. What is your deal with Seth Meyers? And you generally end up liking almost everyone. I know at one point you said you did respect him, but
I want to beat him up, yes.
Yeah, you'd want to beat him up.
No.
Yeah.
And he's pretty much my favorite late night host, so I just want to know what's going on.
I still like you. I still like you, even though I don't like Seth.
Yeah, it's my thing. You don't like if they don't like your thing or whatever.
Right. So when you send me the questionnaire, like that was the one for the next day. I was trying to process. I'm like, why do I not like that guy? What is the deal with that? So I think it definitely pushes my double deciding, like, because there's nothing I can say bad about. In fact, everything that I could say on record about the guy is all extremely positive. That in fact he like shouldn't exist mathematically, being a last INFP, being super nice, super giving, communicating with the tribe, blasting, etc. So he's just a really great guy. But I think he might have just been randomly triggering off like my demon consume, where it's like I'm just allowed to say I don't like that shirt or that haircut or that face or whatever, which you're not really allowed to say that, or you know what I mean? But I think because I have no logical reason. I have no reason other than I just think something about my body doesn't like the shape of his head or something like that. Or his hair is too tall. Just something random.
At times his hair does get very tall.
Yeah, and then like for some reason that like makes me really mad. I don't know why it makes me mad.
Oh my gosh, your masculine demon sensories.
Yeah, that. So I don't think it's me. I just think it's one of these functions inside of me that gets really upset. But if I saw him in real life, I would totally like, I wouldn't, you know what I mean?
What were you going to say, Melanie? Because I know you said you worked with him.
Yeah, no, I wasn't like, besides that too, like, I want to add the urge to end to be like, do you think it's because it's like a primal thing? Like, what do you, like, I want to like get to the bottom of it, but it's like FI, so there's no logic to it. It's not logic. So
yeah, right.
So funny for NTs to be like, but let's go further. Come on, let's go. Let's TI, any of this.
Right. It's definitely like my demon consume, because it's like once I'll find something I really like or don't like, I don't know what to do. Was it like the other day, Shani, I was like, what was I wearing something? So I was like wearing, it wasn't a new shirt, was it? I don't know. Maybe it was. But I was like standing relaxed. And she's like, oh, that looks nice in you. And like instantly I'm like, I just like got all weird and awkward. She's like, and it just got awkward. I'm like, I don't, if I get a compliment, I don't know what to do. Or if like I'll take over something I hate.
You look great today, Dave.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
See?
Sorry.
like, oh, there's my demon consume. There it is. Like it'll trigger up, So yeah.
I understand. Yeah. No, you don't look that good. Does that make you feel better?
That's not right. I look average.
There you go.
Is this energy, Dom?
Right. Energy Dom.
Okay, and so as far as the kind of, I know you guys had an episode too where you were talking about dealing with the tribe and positive and negative feedback and things like that. And one of the examples that I love to give, and this is kind of success oriented too, is because the more successful you are, the more you have to deal with negative feedback. And one of the ways that Seth Meyers deals with it and is his segment called Corrections. And he just one day during the pandemic realized he wasn't getting any feedback. And so he started reading the comment section and was just absolutely shocked with all the corrections that the SIs were giving him, the infodoms, and didn't know what to do with it, and then started to address it, and it became an Emmy-winning segment. Well, an Emmy-nominated segment. It's kind of a joke that it's never won. But what have you watched that at all? I really respect that he's dealt with it. An IP Blast Energy Dom has dealt with all these infodoms that he kind of calls jackals, which I feel like a little bit of a jackal too. I feel like I always want to correct everybody with my SI, which I've kind of toned down over the years, but especially with grammar and stuff like that. But because he's just taken it and just turned it into something. I mean, it's unbelievable that an IP is able to really do that.
Yeah, so it's similar to, what was it, Jimmy Kimmel's like mean tweets or something, where they have celebrities read mean tweets about themselves. Same idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I haven't seen Seth do that, but that see, so you're making me look bad because he's such a great guy. that would be like the highest pinnacle that a single decider could do, is to be able to calmly go on there. I'll see some of the FE. Couple of Jeff, what's the guy in Jurassic Park? Jeff, and then another guy is watching Ant-Man. His FENE.
Paul Rudd.
Yeah, right. So I'll see them kind of double the side, like they figure out, like they're like, oh, there's something going on here. Where there's like a roasting. So I would imagine like Seth had like intellectually figured this out, or any figured this out, because how else would somebody like push themselves to do that? To actually be able to make fun of themselves and go back and forth with the tribe. So no, I haven't seen it. I've seen the idea, but that's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And
Melanie said, what did you say about Seth, Melanie, when you worked with him?
Oh, he's a peach. Yeah, because it's funny because I worked at a show that has, I'm not going to name it, so we're not going to name it, but I work at a show that has a lot of celebrity guests. So pretty much all the people that you guys have typed, we have worked with on this program. So
And then you get to see him. You see him in real life. I always love the stories of like, is this nice person really nice in real life? Like how they treat. Yeah.
But anyway, there's a couple people that I really love to listen to. Seth is one. You're another one, Dave. And it's always weird in my decider brain when like one doesn't like the other.
It's not him. It's me.
Okay.
It's definitely not him. It's me.
Okay. All right. Those were my questions.
It's really going for the FI.
Yeah. Now you're gonna make me like him, and I gotta go find somebody else to pick on.
Ooh, my evil plan is
Melanie is next.
Oh yeah. All right. We're moving on in the questions. Okay. I have mine written down here on my phone. I like how Sasha you brought it back to success because we did have a topic for the show. But this question is, I don't think this is success related, but what are NEIs? Oh, wait, here we go. Does it help us gloss over this sensory bullshit, hence leading to radical success?
I don't know. What are you seeing? Are you seeing NEIs?
NEIs, because we've
Yeah.
heard you guys say that in a bunch of the classes. So, for
NIIs.
example, the Macaulay Culkin class.
Oh,
which I
sure.
feel
The
like Macaulay-
Google eyes. Yeah.
So I'm just
Yeah.
wondering what is it? Like, is it just something that NE is doing?
Oh,
Like,
yeah. Yeah. Like, don't you guys see that?
and I wanted you to play
glazed over.
Yeah.
Yeah, just very subjective question.
So that yeah, let me get a running start because it's hard for me to like describe sensory, right? But
Yeah, fair.
I guess let me just like talk this out. But like it
Love it.
started with I got this friend Matt that I grew up with, and he's INTPs, TISI, so same type as Elon Musk, but number 3 and visual. And so I've just had decades of staring at his face. Like we would like get these slingshot guns and go around the neighborhood and like sneak up on kids and launch water balloons at them or rubber band guns. So there's like so many times I've usually like sitting in like a foxhole with them and just like for like an hour because we're going to get ready to scare the hell out of somebody. And there's like nothing else to do but like just stare at his face. So I've like just downloaded his face, you know? And so like to this day, I'll still see the girl that does the editing for us, Caitlyn, she's an ISTJ and she'll have movements and aspects that I'll recognize that my friend Matt had, and I'm like, what the hell? Like, and I am like, oh, it must be because they share the NESI coin, you know, certain types of movements or mouth gestures or kind of way their eyes go or whatever. Because sometimes I'm like, am I looking at the NE functions or the TI functions or both or a combination, you know? But Sam Harris has got NEIs, I'd say, where he's got a pretty good set of NEIs.
Well, that guy.
Yeah, so it's like well, let me tell you, we keep talking. TESE talked this out.
Yeah.
So Shani has some of the best eyes, and those are like SE double observer eyes.
I feel like that's easy to see. The FM thing,
Right.
if that's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, so and it's also very just make sure the camera wire doesn't get cut here. Doesn't get too,
Just like
yeah,
Kudos to you for dealing with the chaos. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
she'll bite right through a wire in one chunk. So like Shani's eyes are very wolf-like. I do think that the SFP functions are lower. I think the NTPs and SFJs are higher evolutionarily, let's say. So I do think like if you look at like an earthworm, it's like what? It's like sensory only and then a little bit of feeling that's going to be feeling for others. No, it's only going to be feeling for self, you know? So I think that those coins are lower, more primal, more animalistic. And so we do see that in the types of a lot of the SFPs and some of the NTJs, but mostly the SFPs, they'll look more wolf-like or lion-like or gorilla-like, you know. And then the NTPs, especially the INTPs, INTP males, they'll look like aliens. You know, they get real skinny and big heads, and you know they look more evolved intellectually, but their bodies aren't like the SFPs are, you know. So, anyways, you start with like Shani eyes, where you've got visual, you got sensory, you got SE, you have double observer. So if you ever do a close up of watching her eyes, it's like a camera lens that is like constantly zooming in and out, and then also going side to side. And then my eyes are more just like, you know, they're just brown, dilated, and I'll like look off. You'll think I'm looking at the wall, but I'm really looking at the future. You know, I'm looking at some NI.
Okay.
You know, and the NE eyes, like Sam Harris's eyes, they're I don't know how you would just.
Wait,
It's not.
I just looked him up, so now I want to look.
Yeah, look at his eyes. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like
it's
a
not-
like a dreamy look.
His eyes kind of look like right. It's like
Yeah,
they're
yours.
kind of
Yeah,
like that.
Julie, I'd say. Yeah, Julie and
Mhm.
Sasha, I'd say you have any eyes.
Yeah.
You
It's
too?
like, is it just like the is it like we're not necessarily focusing on what is in front of us? I mean, I guess you're saying it's like an intuitive thing. So I feel like
yeah, it's not SE. Like if I didn't know you four and Shanny and I were walking down the street, when we saw Julie and we saw Sasha, we would know that you two have any. We would be able to know that pretty quick. And then the other two, Mel and Magda, not so much.
I'm looking at your guys.
Yeah, no, I have they're prominent, right? It's like see how my eye kind of comes out
right.
of my head.
Yeah. 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 A little prominent. Yeah. Just not
Elijah, like I'm not quite like Toby. What is it, Toby Maguire or Elijah Wood? Like one of those two. Their eyes are like they have like the most.
I feel like both of them
guy.
Both of them? Okay, yeah.
Naval Ravikant also has this googly eyes.
Yes, he does. He does. He very much does. He has very googly eyes.
And he's an eye.
Yeah. And he also does have the NI kind of stare, but he's got the googly eyes. Yeah. So it's a clustering, I'd say Julie, you look, or I'm sorry, Mel, you look a little bit more SE at times. I mean, some of your pictures, like you look a little bit more, you can see the NE in there at times, Yeah. So, so it'll be the overlapping clustering, but yeah, sometimes you'll like walk through a mall. You're like, oh my gosh, there's like a cartoon version. Like most people like don't know, but then some are like, oh my gosh.
Cartoons. Yay, Julie.
Oh, I wanted to be Bugs Bunny when I grew up.
Roger Rabbit.
Yeah, if you get a chance, ask Shanny. Shanny is good at describing the sensory. She can tell you what that is. Yeah,
cool.
That's definitely hard for me to describe sensory.
Well, I guess it sounds like anecdotal, or whatever, or just like more of a SE thing instead of I was like, what is this? What is the concept of it? When it seems like it's just a thing, like a sensory.
Right, right. Because I realize like how much I don't really have the inner monologue thing. So it's like I'm not like way off the charts, but it's like this business is great because it calls me. I start to realize all the time of like how much stuff I internally personally know, and I just have no idea how to communicate it. I kind of like now try to bridge that gap, but it's like it'll just be like a feeling or a pattern that I'll recognize, and I won't use words to describe it. I'll just use like, oh, it's Matt. His last name is Swanson, but I always called him Matt Fondelson. I can't. So those Matt Fondelson eyes, and then I'll just create a database to that then the more that accurately builds up, I'll just use it, but then have no idea how to communicate it.
Squirrel alert.
What's weird, Dave? Like for some reason, I don't know if this is true, but because like NF sleep is like, at least we're in the same energy, like we're NF play and you're NF sleep. It's like I feel like I understand though your functions sometimes better than I do like an ENFP or an ISTP, even though I share functions with them. Like I kind of
that makes sense because the extrovert functions. I'll say that with my mom. My mom is FE-NE, and and even to you ladies as well. It's like all animalistically know that in a large respect, there's a lot that you can see me that I can't see you. And with my mom, it's very much so with like the FE-NE. Like, god damn, it's like you can't. I gotta be so careful, like talking about relationship stuff about like with me and Shannon or whatever, because my mom like so fucking fast to like figure out like what's going on, and just being able to pick up the patterns, and I'll feel that same way with the ENTPs of like they can see me, but I can't. I guess it's the NE and the FE functions, Yeah. So but then when it comes to like TIs, if like there's a TI introvert, like that's where I feel like I can see them with the TE, and they can't see me, So
no, I can't. I can't see TE.
It's very hard. TIFE. Sorry, FIT is very hard.
Yeah. It's a fun battle. It's fun to kind of play around with that. Like it's like as a observer / double decider, what I'm using this stuff for. It's like just like like you guys are more afraid of things than I am, in the context of you're willing to put in the work to not have your phone crash or computer crash or IRS come after you. And I'm so afraid that I won't, but then, you know, just causes this loop off problem or whatever. So it's like, I'll see with the single deciders is they're so afraid of people, they won't put in the work to stop a person problem from happening. You know, like if we're going to have somebody come over to do some work, I'm more afraid that we're going to have a psycho come over, that I'm going to then do the work to figure out if they're a psycho or not. And the decider is going to be like, I'm afraid, so I'm going to do nothing because I'm so afraid, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like, I'll use this stuff a lot to know, like, okay, if somebody's coming over, who's the dominant one? Like, can you see me or can I see you? Like, are you going to kick my ass or am I going to kick your ass? Trying to figure out where it's not necessarily like a threat or a fight, but I guess I'm just kind of more checking, like, who and where is, who's going to be the child, who's going to be the adult, you know, if they're any, they're going to see that I'm a weirdo and I buffoon. And so I need to like keep that in mind or whatever, you know.
Before ops, I knew NIs because there were friends that I've always had, or like people I've had in houses that I love touching everything, and it's NI.
Yeah.
I saw you before I knew you. I would love to just go touch everything. And
right.
Like, how about this?
Yeah. My dad and my brother or one of my brothers, my close brother, close in age, they're both TI. And so I've always grown up like living with TI. And once I was able to get a label for, I'm like, oh, and then my buddy Matt, I'm like, oh, that's what that is. That's what they're going on. So I already have all the stories of what TI and then they don't like it if you touch their stuff.
I'm a 4. I can't help it. I guess. I'm pushing that thing. Okay.
All right. Well, okay, let's keep it moving. So I was wondering if we can clarify the scam of number 2s and sometimes number 1s, because you guys talk about it a lot on the shows.
Yeah.
Number 2s having a scam. And I kind of just think back to my personal goals, and like the scam or like my bigger picture or whatever kind of evolved after I was already going for something. Like I didn't necessarily start with a scam.
Yeah.
As it were. So.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I definitely need another word than scam, because scam's already used for IJs, you know, especially the NI IJs. Yeah. They always have a business scam or whatever. And that word fits perfect. Mm-hmm. But yeah, what I see with the 2, so when I'm using the word scam, it's like it's from the Paul Rudd. So got a video coming out with him pretty soon, and he's a number 4. And what's really great about him is you can see both the 4s and the 3s. They'll look at the 2s and the 1s and they're like, oh, these guys are up. Like, so Paul Rudd was saying, he's like, yeah, I realized going to do these interviews, I thought it was just a fun thing and we're hanging out, you know, just talking about David Letterman or whatever. But then you realize that, like, oh, there's a whole corporate machine of pushing your books and your products and, you know, this whole scam thing. And he's like, oh, so all of this, like, hey, let's hang out and be friends, this is all for a means to the end. You don't really want to be my friend. You're here to make money. And the 2s and the 1s like, yeah, but we can still be friends too. But let's do the scam. Let's do the money.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, that, right? Okay, there you go.
It's kind of aware of the bigger like thing that you're, well, it just seems like, I guess in my understanding, it's like an awareness of like, okay, we're here to sell a book, but also we're buddies. Like,
right.
Yeah.
Well, the twos get in trouble because it's like, well, we speak both both good guy and bad guy. So
yeah.
it's like,
it is very helpful for work purposes, but I can see how your friends are like, okay, like, are we friends or?
Yeah, and it's like, do you really think the corporate do you think they're really putting on a barbecue to have everybody in the whole corporation there? It's like, no, they got like tax money they got to unload, or they're trying to worry about lawsuits.
Right, I knew it.
We're gonna fire somebody.
I knew it.
Oh, in grad school, they specifically threw parties and would not admit people who drank too much at the parties.
That.
To admit people to grad school.
Would the word scam, Melanie, rub against your TI in the wrong way?
Wait, say that again.
Does the word scam just kind of rub against your TI in the wrong way?
Yeah, because I feel like I don't know. I'd like to think of myself as super good natured. Everybody's my buddy. Like very similar to what you guys talk about in the show. That's why I was like, okay, I think this is me. You know, if type is real, even blah, blah, disclaimer.
Yeah.
But like,
or TI truth too, right?
Because I feel like I don't know if it's number 2 or just me. Like I'm not out to be like let me like trick these guys.
No, not at all. Yeah, and same with me. But it's like it's what the 4s and 3s. Again, thousands of them talking about thousands of 2s and 1s. Like that team versus this team. So it's not really an individual thing, but it's like our team, the 2s and the 1s. They're doing things with like several layers, where the 3s and the 4s are more of like, hey, look, I go to work, I'm not up to anything, and then when I'm done, I go hang out with my friends, and there's no agenda. I'm not trying to connect the two. I'm not trying to get some larger thing.
Always suspicious, though. I'm always suspicious.
Right, and rightfully fucking so. You should be. They're up to something.
It's weird because I feel like I have a scam, but I am watching myself, and I guess too, it's like we have those soft voices, right? Like it's like I have sleep, I have SITI, but it's like how much are you prioritizing it, right? How much are you prioritizing the scam, and how are you seeing it? And if it is flex, it's like the 3s would be maybe like I see you.
Right. Yeah, Melanie, a good example is the Hot Wings interview with Paul Rudd. I think it's only about 30 minutes long. And that's some of the best sensory examples I saw of Paul kind of addressing and talking about him seeing the 1s and 2s working on stuff. And then I just think they just get like, they're like, oh, I didn't know that you were doing that. And I think the 2s especially, we have a hard time because I feel like we're like 80% a 4, where it's like we're trying to be friends with everybody. So then like the 2s will feel lonely because it's like all of a sudden the 1s don't want to do this with us, or the 3s or 4s don't want to. They're like, oh well, I want to do this part of the work, but I don't want to get all of these things connected. I don't want to, like with my buddy Keith, I did the RC airplanes with. So he's a 4, or he was a 4. He died a few years ago, but like very sad. But he was super friends and super specialized, and so as the business is building, and what just started off as fun, as it started to evolve into a business, I remember it getting very sad, where I felt like, oh, I'm moving up in this business structure and leaving my friend behind. And that was just like the first of many, just losing every friend I ever had, one after another as you go on your journey in life. But seeing that kind of respect of it, of there'd be certain things that he would want to do, but then once it came to like selling an ebook or whatever, he's just like, no, I can't follow you into that or whatever,
Yeah. So it feels like it is the almost like the deciding factor on like what would make somebody a 2 or a 4 in my understanding.
Yeah.
Just like, but we do have to, like, we got to do this. So like, it really is like that thing. So it's like the scam is just like the awareness of the thing that we have to, like, it's like the sell thing we have to sell or whatever.
Yeah, of course we got to monetize the channel to keep the bills on or whatever. Yeah, and then the specialists will be like, and that's where it'll hurt the 2s is where we'll be like, look, I don't want to do this either. And then the specialists will be like, and neither do I, and I'm going to not do it. And they'll kind of just, a lot of times, again, I'm talking like archetypally, a lot of times they'll just leave the conversation, and then the 2 will be like, hey, you can't just leave the conversation, because now what it creates is now the 2s and the 1s are like, well, the other team doesn't want to work with us, so now we have to do double work, and that then creates the one of the just my own like observer thing. And I've seen other people like Tom DeLonge, or whatever his last name is, from Blink 182. He's said this of like, as you get older and you get to start to meet people up there corporations and stuff, it's just a lot of normal people that are like, look, I don't know what to fucking do. I can't get anybody to work with me, and this is really hard, dirty stuff. And then it creates this. It feels like the EPs and the IJs, the more the EPs cause chaos, the more the IJs have to do control, and it just starts spiraling itself up, because it's not that the 1s and 2s don't want to talk or share all this with everybody else. It's just that everybody else doesn't want to hear it, and then you add 20 years of bitterness that builds up on top of that, right?
I think for me as a 3, I'm just going to speak kind of as a 3, just really briefly. I don't know if this is like saying, oh, this is the exception to the rule, but as long as what we're doing has some integrity to it, and I feel like it'll help the FE Jubilee at the end, I will work my ass off. For it.
Yeah.
And I need that to be explained as to what the hell is going on and why is this decision made, and will I support it? Otherwise, I have a really hard time with that. But I don't know how you feel about that, Magda. But yeah, anyway, that was just.
And that's the thing. Yeah, I was wondering, because I don't have a problem to participate in a scam because I understand the, how to say it, like the weight of this scam, what have to be done to achieve the common goal, let's say.
Yeah.
So I don't have a problem because if I will leave, I know what will happen because someone else will have to fill the void I'm leaving. So I
Right.
cannot afford to leave right now. So I think most of the time, maybe always, I'm okay with the scam. I will participate in it and I will nail my area, so that's okay. But maybe not participating in the scam is the problem, but maybe creating one, because I won't create multiple layer
Right.
scam. I can create like 2 layers, 3
Right. Right.
max, and that's it. I cannot
Right.
build up the scam and hold it, maintain it,
Right.
because it will just I cannot become the 2. It's like too
Yeah.
much. I can pretend, but
Oh.
not for so long.
I feel
Yeah.
like I'm
So
pushing
that's my
myself into 2 a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm starting to network and it's gross, but
Woo!
it's working.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
yeah.
Right. Right. Yeah. The past 6 months, I've been pushing myself into specialization. I've just been like watching the threes in my life, and the way I describe them is like when it's 4 o'clock when their watch goes off. This is my dad at 3:50 every day. Still to this day, he's been retired for years, and still his alarm will ring at 3:50, and like he'll just drop his tools where he stands and just goes home. And like as a kid, I'm like, is that normal? It's like that how you do it? Like, and so I'm trying to I'm building this exercise in myself of like I'll be rough editing or whatever, and then once the hour's up, I just drop it, even though it's not done, and like making myself sit in that uncomfortableness of like, hey, you gotta focus in, and then you gotta be done, and then you gotta come back and do it again tomorrow, and stop taking it so number 2 real or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, the way you're describing it, I kind of see it like watching my buddy Caitlyn, you know, who's a 3. It's like, I feel like it's like loaders and shooters. So she's very much exactly what you were describing, Sasha. She's like, okay, I know what you guys are doing, and she's been pushing herself to speak to, like,
Yeah.
and that's the whole point of like, hey, this is just your silly starting point. Like, yeah, you better start getting in on the other ones. Like, don't you want to tell the number 1s to be friends? Like, well, yeah, duh. Like, well, then that applies to you too. You know, if you're a 4, then go the other way, you know, because the 4s at the end of their life, they're like, oh shit, I wish I would have done something with my life. And that's the end of that story. You know, you have these motivational, you know, regret at the end of the life or whatever. And so, yeah, for 2s and 3s, it's absolutely, you know, trying to go the opposite way. But that's what I see with Caitlyn. And I'm learning this social stuff just by watching the people in my life right now, you know, and I'll see that she'll do exactly that. She'll literally tell me like, okay, tell me 20 minutes worth of number 2 stuff. What other stuff do you have going on? And in fact, just last night I sent her an update on the profiles and other people that are working here, just kind of giving her a quick, it was literally a 5-minute audio of just like, okay, here's what went on in all the other departments over Christmas break. And that just meant a lot to her, that like, you know, because otherwise you get the anxiety of like, she's just editing, and then what the hell's going on out here, you know? So that's been a good, and then it's helped me a lot watching her be able to turn everything else off. And then therefore, like, I've been struggling with editing since fucking 2005, and she comes in like 4 months and like systematizes and like makes lists. I'm like, okay, so that's all I could have done. I like, what? Like,
Hey,
you know,
what is her name again? What is her name again?
Caitlyn.
Yay, Caitlyn.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice as that. We love it.
Yeah. Yeah. She's really great. She's really good. She's I tell her quite a bit. Like, I'm like, Caitlyn, you have no idea how much you've helped me in not only in the business, but in my personal life of like learning what a number 3 specialization is. So I can, like, rather than just doing this number 2 bullshit where you're just running over the same 50 things, you know, years later, it's still the same 50 things, like stopping and getting one of them done. It feels like I should be able to do that as an IJ, but the 2 seems to overpower the IJ ability to get anything done, you know?
I hope she's listening to this, because the fact that you're like complimenting her work is like such a big deal to threes. You know?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
that.
It's so nice. I'm even like so happy hearing it.
Yeah.
It's really awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the flex. That's what Shani tells me. The flex really appreciates the complimenting of the work.
Yeah.
It's
right.
That's also funny to think about, because when I think of becoming more 3, like to me, I always feel like, and not like 3s are awesome, but I think of like, is Zoe Saldana a 3 or she's a 1? I feel like
Zoe?
we just class.
The SETE?
Yeah, well, I actually don't remember. Well, whatever. That's just like throwing it on the spot. I can't remember.
What was her last name?
Saldana. She's you guys, I think maybe she might have been a 1.
Shan's type.
No, that's
Type two.
Deschanel. That's Zoe Deschanel. Is that who
Oh,
you're talking
Zoe
about?
Deschanel.
Yeah,
No,
Saldana.
you said Saldana, and maybe she was type. But Zoe Deschanel is an observer, Shani, double feminine type
Right.
3.
Right.
And then
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Sasha. Sorry.
were you talking about the actress who? What
She's
is she
an
starring?
actress. She's in the what's the movies you like, Julie, with the Guardians of the Galaxy? She's the green.
Oh, that
okay.
one. Yeah.
That's Saldana.
She's a
I don't know her type. Okay.
3.
I think she's a
Shan.
3. I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think
Because
I mean,
I
Shan's
always,
type.
yeah. Magda's like, bitches, I knew it all along. Like, listen to me.
No, I'm sorry, Magda. Okay, so they're both Zoes are close to Shannon type, or this
Yeah.
one is exactly a Shan.
I think
Right.
she's exactly Shane. Yeah.
Oh,
So-
okay, my bad.
Well, thinking of whichever Zoe though, but Zoe Saldana, for some reason, I always like, she's like maybe an avatar of being more 3 to me, whether she's 1 or 3. And it seems like almost like, I love her. I think she's great, but it's like she's almost too serious, and it's so hard for me. And I don't know if that's the flex, but it feels like
Yeah.
that's hard to picture myself doing. So I don't know if it's
that's
the specialized. And I know you were talking about specialized,
yeah.
but you reminded me of saying, oh, it feels so good. I'm like, I can't like do that where somebody would think I'm good at something. Like, it's so weird.
See
But
how much
yeah.
the 2s are like force with that regard? Like we'll back off on the flex thing.
Yeah. Like, it's the
Yeah.
weirdest thing. But anyway, it just made me think of that when you said that, compliments or whatever. I'm like, oh God, it seems like the worst.
Yeah, right. That's how I feel. I can like hold my breath through it, and then I'll like awkwardly tell Caitlyn or Shan like, "Hey, everybody said you're great," and I'll feel weird too. So like you get so you'll see this with me and Shan. Like if you're flex and infodom, you're getting kind of like two aces on your 2 cards that are the same. Or if you're friends and energy dom, then you're going that way. So Shani is more quote unquote info dom than I am because of that high flex. And I now when I look for it, I really see it. Like I play around. I'm so much more goofy than she is, and she's got a much more serious side to her. And I thought, oh, that's just EJ or whatever. But like, no, now that I filter it through flex, I'm like, oh, that's what that is. That feels the flex is the compliments, and then not wanting to be too silly because it doesn't want to like low, like the 2s and the 4s like we'll make fun of ourselves to connect,
Yeah, like that. I guess I didn't really connect it, but I was just thinking that like her like regal energy or something, like it seems so flex, like, yes, admire me.
Yeah.
That's what seems like that's about her. Anyway.
Yeah, but very quietly, very subtly.
Yes.
Like to try to get away with it.
Well, I actually have, so Dave, at some point I might try to send it you guys' way, although I know you have a lot on your plate, but I actually have a theory regarding socials. So for the past 5 years, I've been studying story structure, and I actually used ops to like get the story structure to get these 6 threads out. And I think that what I was actually looking at was the socials. And I think that like the friends coin is kind of play, blast, sleep, although saying that is like kind of oversimplifying it. But I think I see it in story structure, and I'm trying to make my videos now with my like hour that I have every day. But I plan to make out videos soon. But like if I may, so like play, blast, sleep, what I think it kind of is like conflict, which is play, blast in story structure. Blast, sleep is redemption, and then play and sleep is voyage, right?
Sure, yeah.
We're into the conflict, and then we redeem others and ourselves with others, like through redemption. So
yeah.
I
So
have
if you're-
some theories for you guys regarding that.
Yeah, it'd be cool to see what you have if you get something made or whatever. Because
Mhm.
I think I understand what you're saying. Like, if somebody's doing a movie, if somebody is like a contradictory type, if they're friends and introverted, you know, then it doesn't really come across on the camera. Like you'll see these IPs that are like play last and save your friends. And it's like that's hard to use that as a good example of what save your friends is. You want somebody who's more extroverted, maybe double the site or FE, play blast. That's
Yeah.
and then also friends. Then they get in that cartoon character where you can really see it. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yeah, and like it's like that was kind of in response to the energy dom thing. Like I think that the friends coin is kind of using play blast sleep. Like
Oh my God.
there. Hello.
Look, your buddies.
Wow.
Hi, Mazey. Oh,
And
chaos.
Come
I
here.
love-
Here, you want this? She's walking around. What time is it? 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
Come here, Mazey
So that's
baby.
my scam. So I will like I'll send
Okay.
it to you. from,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, well,
I don't want to hijack. Magda still has her questions. I
yeah,
know.
well,
Yeah,
maybe if you have. Do you think you have like 15 more minutes?
Who, me?
yeah.
But-
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
Not on time. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. We can cut that if we need. The
Oh
time.
no. Oh, we have
Oh, the squirrel? We're not cutting the squirrel. Oh, hello.
Come here, chew
Oh,
on.
you know what?
chew
My
on-
dog is freaking out. Does she maybe like hear the like higher pitched noises the squirrel is making?
don't
My
know.
dog just started being like, what's going on?
Oh.
Oh, she's got Shanny's makeup brush. Or is that mine?
Oh, nice. I also had a pet squirrel once for a week when I was a kid
Oh.
named Bailey.
Did you really?
Oddly enough, yeah.
Wow.
Wait, what?
Melanie?
Yeah, I did. My older brother's dog was gonna like kill this little baby squirrel, so my mom let us. I think we were like 11 years old. Me and I have a twin and younger brother, so we saved this squirrel. My mom let us keep him for a week, and he would
And
sleep.
what was its name?
Bailey?
Bailey. Okay.
I don't know why
Wow.
we loved that name when we were really little, young. I think we were 11.
And then once you got better, you let him go.
We brought him to my mom made us bring her to an animal rehabber in our neighborhood.
Yeah.
So we were very upset. We cried a lot. But,
Oh.
yeah, we
Yeah.
still have happy Bailey memories.
Yeah. Oh, great. How sweet.
Yeah.
Aw.
Anyway, random consume story, I guess.
I love this squirrel. Okay. Anyway, Magda.
Okay, so time for my
Yeah, we're-
questions, right? Please tell me, what do you mean by this Enneagram social thing, that social 3 that is leaning to 4 or 2 or
Yeah, sure.
1? What do you mean by that? So
Yeah. I think it's like just with the like, so you're all INTPs that would lean towards EP. You'd be like an IP EP.
Yeah.
You know, you're not. Yeah. So you get what I'm saying. Some IPs will lean towards IJ. You know. So I see that with a lot of the people or the types. You know, like if you get somebody who is like a sleepy IJ and they're a 2, then they're going to be leaning back towards like a 3, you know, or something like that. I think that's kind of subjective as well, or you have to kind of get to know them more. There's also other factors like how are they raised and their parents or upbringing, how they interact with their people around them, stuff like that. But just trying to get a accurate understanding or description of people that, because a lot of people will fit the molds pretty well, and then a lot of people don't. You know, you're like, why is this introverted person so extroverted, or why is this 3 so very 2-like, or whatever. So just kind of feel like the coins and all that stuff, it's a great starting point, but then you're adding on to like how much life experience you gotta be able to go through that, you know.
Yeah.
And then just trying to come up with kind of off the cuff terms to describe why this person is such a way, you know.
Yeah,
So
so
yeah.
like you said that like being infodom gives a person more flex. So that would in turn also give, say, me, if it is correct I'm a 4, that would give me a little more flex, the fact that I'm infodom, right?
And your DI lead, yeah.
Yeah, and your DI, yeah. But then like also then the fact that you're Julie, you know, and you're a goofball, like that can also, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I like the way I look at it with clients and stuff is like, or like back to like if somebody's coming over to my house, it's like I have like a very consistent like priority order. So I'm always trying to always understand the priority order of like what lower thing affects the upper thing. You know, which one of these variables influences the other, which direction is the energy flowing. So it's like, first of all, I need to know, okay, so are they an EP and IJ or what? I need to know if they're an observer or a decider. I need to know what they're afraid of. And then I got to know what's their last animal. So what's the void going to be? If they're going to blast last you to death, or if they're sleep last, you're going to have to say it a million times, or consume last. So you got to know that one. And then the socials, a lot of times, is very important. Some people not so much. Like some people, like if they're just kind of in their mid-20s and life is fine, like socials are not the biggest deal. But like if they're a number one in their mid-30s, like that's the socials is going to be a higher priority for them at that time. So it's like those three, the last function, the last animal, and then the social type. I'll try and figure out on a person like which of those three is the issue that they're burning down on right now. Like, so for myself, for example, it's like consume last is where I'm having the hardest time in my life. Like this past year, I'd say that this last January, so a year ago, like that was really hard for me and Shan with the socials. Like that's where we were like burning down in our personal life, like starting to realize what social type we are. It started to like creep into, we started to see it the year prior, but I was out here. I always picture like that scene in the Matrix where like Neo touches the mirror and like it just gets a little bit on his finger, and then it, and then it's just like that. It's like, oh look, there's socials out there, and you're like yes. It just like comes into your family, and like now you're like Cody and Shan, like you see your whole family, and then your whole life gets turned upside down again. And so that was last year. Just oh my gosh, going through a hell of a ride with the socials for us. Now for me, it's consume last. I'm like, oh my God, this is why I don't have a day off. This is why blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I need to put the focus back on consume last or whatever. Then the fourth one is, then I feel like the fourth one just opens up an endless category of fractals of things to look at, like childhood trauma. How old are they? What's their birth order? What's their job? What have they learned to be like? What is their social presence of adaptability? Have they learned to be more like Seth Meyers? Like how are you going to make sense of that? How are you going to that'd be like a category of one? Like if you write a category for that, it's going to be a waste because it's going to be the only one that like is an INFP that went this way and this way and this way and this way and this way. And but if you still have like kind of questions to ask of the person's self-development, you know, so like one of the reasons I'm wanting to get the profiles kind of done and settled to a degree to where it's like, okay, there's a version 1 that works. Let's get it settled. Because it's like when I'm meeting somebody, you know, at first you're like, oh my God, what the hell's wrong with this person? Then you realize like, oh, that's just play last. That's normal. They all do that. You're like, oh, and then you got oh, that's just a social type. They all do that. That's normal. So like you get all these coins settled that freak you out, you know, and then once those are settled, so you're not looking at the person's coins. I want to now get to know the person. Like who is Julie the past 20 years? Like what has this person gone through? What's their life? What's their experiences? And if they start telling that story too early and you don't know their type, you're like, oh my gosh, you're a weirdo. You're like, no, that's just any. That's normal. That's normal. Get that, you know? So trying to get, because then you gotta go, okay, so what the hell really is wrong with this person? You know, it's not ADD. That's just OE. Leave that alone. For a lot of people, that's the case, you know. Like the Gabor mate guy, like I'll see that where he's going in the right direction. If he's going after like, all right, what childhood trauma did you go through when you were younger that you've got damaged and your wiring started growing the other way? You don't even realize it. And that's where the real work is, because that's where you really start to go back and be like, all right, so what the hell scared me when I was 7 years old that I didn't quite process right, and then have built up from there, and then have completely and totally forgotten. And then you have all these functions and coins that are like bearing on top of it, you know? So that's I'm not sure how the hell we started off on this topic, but that's what I'm trying to figure out. Then I'll look at somebody and then be like, oh, they're a 2 wing 3 or whatever. So I'm trying to sort out the coins to get started in the game, which is the trauma and the growth. Because then you now get to get started. I want to get all the personality shit out of the way, you know?
Wow.
Yeah, that's cool.
Magda, do you have any follow-up on that?
Well, I still if I can be honest, I'm still more relate to all descriptions that ones have, but I don't like. I really understood what is the difference between them. So I'm really glad that I let myself to think I'm 3 and took your guess into my consideration, and I really
Yeah.
agree with this. And I'm really glad for your audio. And yeah, and I really see how I'm not one actually, but still I am relating to those
Sure.
all those
Right.
descriptions. So
Yeah.
where is this dissonance? Like why it
Maybe
happened?
the TI, maybe the
Maybe.
TI, the upbringing. Maybe you had a fight when you were younger with, growing up and stuff like that.
Could
Yeah, I
be.
would.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that would be the stuff to explore. Is
Yeah.
that because there'll be a lot of other people of your same exact type. Sasha is a good
Yeah.
example of like she might be like, actually, I'm gonna go a little bit more towards the 2, and she's just her whole story goes that way. Yeah, kind of looking at it, I feel like I'm more like a 2/4. I feel like that, where I will jive in really quick with the 4. Just kind of growing up in a very kind of playful kind of environment, I went that way. But a lot of people my type will be like 2/3, or I see a lot of guys my type that'll be like 2/1,
Relate
or
to
Chris DeLilla, who's like a 3. I think he's kind of like a 3/1. He kind of goes leans a different way, but yeah.
Yeah, I feel like 3/1. But
Yeah,
but smaller one.
yeah, right. A lowercase 1. That makes sense. That's I would say that. Yeah. Yeah. Though I'd say you are pretty friendly as well.
You have secret friends, Magda. You know everybody in the community. You'll be like, I don't know anybody, and then
they
like,
don't like me. Come on. We are just acquaintances. They don't like me.
IP. They don't like me.
Yeah,
we understand.
Sasha caught it.
I do it too.
but that's the scam I'm playing. So I'm there for them. So that's the scam I'm willing to play. So that's yeah.
That's awesome.
My scam is I'm a sweetheart.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just torn too thin. That's my scam.
Oh,
Just a 2
true. Well, my last question was gonna be, Dave, just to say, like, are there any questions that you'd really like for us to be?
But I have the last one. The
I'm
last question.
I thought that was your follow-up.
The last question is, yes, what would you like from the OP community that would serve OP success that you were never vocal about? So would you like to say something that will help your business even better?
Yeah, that's a great question. Thanks a lot for that. Yeah. I would say some type of community management type bridging the gap would be really helpful. We've got so much to do in this crazy business and an online business. There's so many different things we're doing that we don't have the ability, like we did back in the RC business, to really kind of be interactive in the community. When we had the RC business, I was on the forums all the time, which is why when I got into the personality stuff, I'm like, I'm done with forums. I've been so dove into it, but like that's where so much of the best interactions happen. But of course, it's also where some of the like worst interactions happen. So it's like there's always been a gap that I've been very aware of like not really being in the community. But I've also decided like, look, I need to go more towards the business. I need to be more towards the business side rather than trying to get into everything. I'm a number 2, like trying to say like, hey, I'm not going to do 51 departments. I'm trying to get this down to 49, and I feel guilty about it. So every time people will come through, I was just talking to a friend last night about this of like, any kind of help of like creating a gap of like, of bridging the gap of like things that are going on in the community. So if it's something bad or negative, that's actually legitimate rather than just like kids complaining, which they're going to be doing anyways. It's kind of what a forum is for. It's just kind of you feel bad about life. So you're kicking the shit out of somebody in there. So kind of being able to sort through that and be like, hey, actually there is a legitimate issue, to be able to get that up into like onto my desk or whatever. And the challenge before has been like people will come in like, hey, this, but then they'll also like load their personal, all this bullshit. So like they'll be like, it's like the Congress. There'll be like one line in the email that's relevant, and like everything else is this loaded drama that I got to try and, there's another 2 hours or whatever. So it's like kind of like almost like bringing me a report of like, here's what's going on, or here's something that could be talked about, or something that is misunderstood, or something that's negative, or here's what the community would really like to know more about, or here's celebrities that people would like to know, and then just being able to bring me a clean report that isn't tangled up with all this other stuff trying to pull me back down into that stuff. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Could AI help you with that?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So it's just basically like what's challenging is that whoever does this management position is they have to work between two psychos. One is all the psychos in the community, and then the other one is OCD Dave, where it's like, if you send me a fucking PDF document, I'll be like, what the hell is this? And, I'm going to throw it back at you.
I was like, I'm sure that was Chris, but it's cool.
Or like, I love like people send me Google Docs. The first thing I do is I go in and I expand the margins, and I just start like OCDing their doc. I'm like, oh, I need to see this and breathe and get these little spacings out of the way. So it's like dealing with, and so a lot of the EPs will have a hard time with that because they're like, oh my gosh, I sent you some celebrities and like you just reformatted everything. I'm like, yes, I do need to reformat it because I got to then take it to this table, so I can get it into Caitlyn's IJ systems. So as long as like you're able to like roll with that of like, hey, look, there's some weird things I'm going to ask about. Can you bring the information this way, not this way, or this format or not that format? But then other than that, just bringing it in a nice, condensed thing. Don't have any like personal stories embedded in the thing. Maybe send those separate or whatever. Yeah. Just figuring out how to work with Crazy Dave, and then the challenge is like then also like going into the community, which that can be that's also hard to do because it's if there's a lot of negativity going on in there, then you're like, oh my gosh, now I gotta go process this or drink it off or whatever, or sleep last it, however you deal with negative tribe energy. Yeah. So yeah, something like that.
Take little breaks.
Yeah.
There's a lot of positive in there too. That's how Sasha found us all. So
yeah, right. So yeah, that would be the role of the community manager, of just helping bridge the gap of positive, negative, good ideas, bad ideas, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that'd be helpful.
Yeah. No,
and then squirrel babysitting. Anybody want to come over and babysit squirrel?
Yes. Yeah, it sounds like you need a 4, Dave, especially for those squirrel.
Yeah.
You just need a 4 to go hang out with your squirrel.
Once we're done here, I can go try and grab her. Looks like she's.
Yeah. You typed someone recently who's my 2048, and it's like interesting interacting with past me and kind of like going through like, yes, I had this is how I did things.
Right.
I too used to be a lot more sleep last than I am now. And even though I'm still and forever.
No, totally. Yeah, that's what I saw. That's why I hardly even recognize you. Yeah, it has been incredible to see the growth in yourselves and a lot of other people out there. I wonder how much just once somebody starts to see this stuff, it feels like time really starts to kind of,
it helps a lot.
Yeah,
right. You have to go through more falls, right?
Yeah.
Because part of why I disappeared is because my husband and I had a huge crash, right, in between like then and now. And it's like, I feel like the tools that you gave us, it's kind of like being dropped into a cave, and I have the map, but I'm not sure where in the cave I am. You know what I mean? Like that kind of thing. But it's still better to have like a couple tools, like a map and a flashlight, which is like you guys have provided, than versus like I could have had nothing. And then once if I have to go back into the cave, then I'll be like, well, I've been here before. Now I kind of know. Now the map is getting a little more fleshed out, and there's labels each time. So
yeah, right. Yeah, that.
I love that.
Yeah, I love that too. That's definitely what it is. Yeah, really good.
All right, really good.
All right, really good.
Oh yeah, I was gonna call this all right, really good.
Yeah.
It's Well, do you have any more like questions for us or questions that you'd like to be asked? Or
It helped me out a lot just talking out the NESI, the community stuff. Yeah. And then just watching you guys, listening to how you're processing stuff. So
Yeah.
nothing to fire off as we're getting out of here. But thank you.
Yeah, no. We really appreciate having you here. Are you gonna grab the squirrel one more time? Is that what
Yeah.
you're...
Yeah. Once we're officially done, off the record, I'll go grab her.
All right, cool.
All
right.
All right, so bye, tribe. We have squirrel time.
Yeah, we have to see the squirrel, so bye.
Thank you, everyone. And as we said, let's sleep on it.
Sleep on it.
Let's sleep on it.
Woo!